Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best couple of counters to the meta brawlers right now. So I sneaked in an extra one, which is Rico, which we'll go into in the future. But there's been a lot of really broken brawlers in this meta, and specifically because it's ladder and you can't just, ban brawlers in ranked like you do in ranked. You've got to face off against these really broken brawlers. Everyone's playing ladder right now, trying to farm prestiges. So let's jump into it. So, yeah, let's just address the elephant in the room. Thanos, Bibi. How do we counter her? So, most of the time, you just want to uninstall the game, honestly. She's really annoying right now. No, I'm finding that, yes, she is broken, but there are some counters to her. She has very limited range, right? She hates it as well when you, knock her back or stun her, etc. So those are just a few glimpses on how to counter her. But the best one for sure has to be Shelly. So Shelly, make sure you're using a fast-forward gadget with Shelly. The first interaction is always the hardest when you're facing the Bibi because you got to build up that first super. When you build up a super, just make sure you're timing your super to interrupt Bibi's attack or knockback. And then once you're out of ammo, or if you want to tank a Bibi shot, use it fast forward, gain all your ammo back, cycle through to another super. Just spam as many supers as you can into the Bibi. And yet, Bibi can still tank a lot and heal a lot, but Shelly is a good shutdown. Spike is another good shutdown. Yes, Spike is a very meta brawler right now, but the reason why Spike's a good shutdown is because you can slow Bibi with your super, and then you can focus her. Spike deals a lot of damage. Yep, Crow is next as well. Crow is a great counter to Bibi, more so on a bit more of an open map. But still, even on more closed maps with Crow, Crow is an amazing counter just literally because he has the anti-heal built into him. He's also got Carrying Crow, which can deal some good damage into Bibi, and you've got the slow gadget as well into that Bibi, so fantastic counter. And then lastly, one that people are just not aware of too much, Lumi. Lumi's actually a really good counter into Bibi because you can slow Bibi consistently with your main attack. It's not like a disgraceful counter, but it's one that pros use quite a bit. Okay, so moving on from one broken brawler to the next one. Sirius is an incredibly hard brawler to counter right now, and there's a few ways to counter Sirius. I think the map can counter Sirius a little bit because you can overwhelm Sirius on yesterday's map, for example, Sneaky Fields. If there was multiple aggro brawlers with their super, you can overwhelm a Sirius. He hasn't got a knockback or any way to really slow down their push. I mean, his first gadget does, the one that spawns a shadow, that has a built-in slow as well, but that's not enough to stop a Bibi, for example. Obviously, Bibi would be the best counter, but we're not really including that. Same with Bull as well. I've actually found Barley's a good counter to Sirius because with Barley, you've got the splash damage, which can be good into multiple shadows. With Barley, I believe you do outrange Sirius with the main attack, which is pretty good. I'm just finding, I literally play Barley on multiple maps into Sirius, and I'll just win in every single matchup. I don't know if I'm just better, but it just seemed like a really good matchup. Also, like I said, aggro brawlers are good into Sirius. Yes, I know that Sirius wants to take shadows from the tankier brawlers. That's always best, but I'm finding a 1 versus 1 situation, those are still the brawlers that can deal with Sirius the best. And like I said, bushy maps, I mean, you could also just try and outrange Sirius, try not feed him too much. That's probably the only way you're going to stop Sirius in this meta. What we're looking to counter is Ems. So Ems isn't anywhere near as troublesome as she was in the past since her nerf. I'm not really seeing too much Ems on ladder right now, but a few counters, especially if you play the ranks, for example. The best one probably be Ruffs. The reason why Ruffs is really good, yep, you're not going to I don't know, in a complete 1 versus 1. A Ruffs isn't just going to completely destroy Ems, but I think as the game goes on, as Ruff starts to get supers, he's just decent into Ems and then can break open the map. Spike is next, so again in that mid interaction, you normally use Spike on maps that Ems is pretty good on. You can just chip damage Ems a lot better. You can stop runner tracks with your super. You can scout Ems on bushy maps with a vision gate with Spike, so really good counter. Like I said, any type of wall break is good for Ems because the more open the map is, the less chance Ems can sneak up. She needs walls, she needs bushy maps, well, any type of bush to push forward. But if they're all broken up, then Ems doesn't stand a chance. And then, again, simply to outrange. Just a pinch with you and your teammate. Outrange, don't feed Ems, don't get within her range, or else she will shred you quickly. Another broken brawler, and this time it is Bull. So Bull is so unstoppable in Brawl right now. It is very hard to deal with him, especially once he gets his hypercharge. But here's a few kind of good counters, I assume. The first one is Nita. So again, Nita isn't going to just completely stomp all over a Bull, but Nita is pretty good, especially if you're using the stun gadget. You can defend yourself a little bit. You've also got the immunity gadget as well for you. Both gadgets are pretty good against the Bull because if he's charging onto you, you can tank one shot. But yeah, that's probably the main reason why you can farm a lot from the Bull. And, you know, Bull has to waste a lot of ammo on that bear, and he just can't really deal with it. Otis is next, so Otis is a great counter to Bull because you can hypercharge stun him, you can just super him just to stop him from killing you, and Otis deals a lot of damage, so Otis can be good into the Bull. And then lastly, Shelly. Yeah, very boring, but this is why Shelly's got better in the meta, because literally Shelly can really hyper shut down a Bull, especially with the fast forward gadget, again gaining a lot of ammo. You can really shut down a Bull, but at the same time I think a good Bull player just kills everything in this meta. So we're looking to counter Crow. So Crow has changed again, especially with a few reworks to his kit, and now I think brawlers that used to counter him years and years ago do actually counter Crow again, and that's thanks to his shield gadget getting reworked. Now you can't just click a button and get an insane shield. So snipers typically are going to be your best matchups against the Crow because you can simply outrange him. He's not the squishiest brawler, but you know, a couple of taps and Crow, you know, he can't get within range. So Pierce is actually pretty good into Crow, I believe, and then you can even go with the knockback gadget if needed. Well, it depends. Like, right, if Crow just feeds his super and then jumps onto a Pierce, then yeah, you can say that. But I think a good Pierce should be able to deal with a Crow. Next up, Janet. So again, thinking of like gem grab, you're thinking of that mid interaction. Janet can just be okay into Crow. Again, there's hardly any brawlers that are like, okay, I know this brawler absolutely destroys a Crow because there just hardly is any in the game right now. That's why it's so strong. Tara as well is pretty decent into Crow. Again, over the past few years, a lot of pros would go Tara into Crow because, again, it's mid-range. You've got a little bit of tanking with your pets. Can be pretty decent. The same goes with Charlie as well. The tanking with the spiders can be pretty good into a Crow. So we're looking for counters for Pierce. So Pierce is really good still, but you're not really going to see much inside of Brawl. It's a really aggressive meta. Those longer range maps and modes are going to be where Pierce is dominating right now, but the best counters for him, I would say, in pro play, like Kenji's a really good one because you see a lot of like Pierce in Bounty, for example, or Knockout, and Kenji's going to be really good at just making sure you can get a lot of pressure onto the Pierce. You know, if Pierce misses a few shots, then Kenji can easily overwhelm him. Also, same goes with Lily as well. There's not much a Pierce can really do with Lily being super aggressive. Yes, you have the knockback, but if you have the hypercharge, if you time your vanish gadget correctly, a Pierce just won't be able to deal with a good Lily when you think about it. Next we have Ali. So again, another assassin, but Ali's really good into Pierce because you can just pressure him really easily. Yes, again, Pierce has a knockback, but I don't think that's really going to do too much into an Ali. And then the final one is Spike. So Spike is used a lot in pro play against Pierce because you can just throw your life plant onto Pierce. He has to waste 2 ammo on just killing the life plant, and he's got to keep doing that all of the time, and that's just so annoying to deal with. You've seen this in I think used Spike to counter Pierce a few times, and it just works because Pierce just hates spawnables. Next up, we're looking to counter Glober. So the biggest advice is very simple: try not to get within his range, right? Because once you get within his range, you're just completely cooked most of the time. And his biggest weakness is walls, or just getting outside of his beam range, because he will lose connection and he won't be able to do damage to you. So that's probably your best advice. But in terms of brawlers, your first one, you got Belle. So think of Glober as like, I don't know, a Byron, a Jean. Those types of brawlers, Jae Young, where you group together a lot. Glober, it's the same, you want to group up to your teammates. So Belle is going to be one of the best counters because Belle will consistently ricochet shots out of everyone, and it will stop them from grouping up. So Belle's always been one of the best counters to those types of brawlers. Crow is another great counter to Glober because you think anti-heal, there's hardly any brawlers with anti-heal in the game, right? You got Byron, you got Angelo, and that's really about it. So yeah, Crow's really good into those Glober cheese compositions. He can stop the healing. Byron as well, again, for the anti-heal, you know, if Glober's just healing up a Frank, for example, and use some Melee star power onto the Frank, then Glober's hardly going to be dealing any damage. And Byron outranges Glober and can cycle super a little bit better. And then I've got the likes of B as well. So B can be pretty good because normally with Glober, people like to pair Glober with like a wall breaker. So if the map opens up, well, B it just plays into B's hands. And then as well, normally with Glober, you're going to be pairing Glober with some tanky brawler, so B can counter that brawler as well. So B's a great counter. Next up, we're looking to counter Leon. So you're probably not going to be facing off against much Leon if you play a lot of Brawl like myself, but Leon is a menace in the meta right now, mainly because of his bug, but he actually is still pretty strong. So the first counter is going to be Crow. I know, another boring meta brawler, but any brawler with a bit of poison is going to be a great brawler against Leon. And also, Crow's just Leon's quite evasive, right? He can get a big amount of speed boost. Crow, his main attack's really easy to hit. Got similar range, so yeah, that's always been a good counter. Next up, we've got Gene. So Gene is a great counter to Leon because, again, Gene can scout really easily. The way that Leon likes to play, he likes to sneak in and out of bushes. He likes to make flank plays. He likes to... especially on like an open map, it can be hard, you know, if a sniper's trying to scout a Leon. That's impossible. But Gene, he has so many projectiles, so you can just literally scout him out once, and that's enough to scare a Leon away normally. And then lastly, I went with Lola. So again, Leon's actually pretty difficult to play into a Lola because she can use her clone to tank a lot for her, and yeah, it's just annoying for a Leon to deal with, really. So anything that is a hard kill, especially up close and has a bit of range, is normally a good counter to Leon. But looking to counter Spike, yes, I know that he was dominating the meta, the previous one when he first got his buffies, so it's a little bit boring to go over him again, but he's still very, very relevant in this meta. So the first one is always throwers. Throwers are really good into Spike because there's just not really too much you can do into throwers. Throwers aren't that great in this meta though, so do be careful with them. Next up, we've got Meeple. So you might be thinking straight away, well, Spike literally counters a lot of the single shot brawlers. Yes, Spike will be annoying for Meeple to deal with, but since the gadget cooldown, it's been better for Meeple. But I've been noticing, I think I played with a few pros in like ranked a couple of weeks ago. This is in a previous meta, right? A lot of the time when Spike is played, especially on like Triple Dribble or another Brawl map, Meeple is played quite often in Spike because they're kind of similar range. Well, Spike has some crazy range, right? But they're played similar, like mid-range, but Meeple can just get more consistent damage onto Spike. And yeah, I just like Meeple into Spike. I don't know, you guys will have to try it if you don't believe me. And then lastly, Carl. Carl is really good into Spike because Carl can literally shoot through Spike's cactus. Spike is still kind of squishy, and Carl can wall peek and out wall peek Spike a lot better. So yeah, those are the best counters. We're looking to counter Frank. So yeah, Frank is still very, very strong in the meta. And if you're playing ranked, you know, if you're banning some of the best brawlers in the game like Bull and Bibi, well, Frank is still like a top meta brawler inside of the game. He's still very powerful. So first off, we got Bull. Wow, who would have thought that Bull would counter Frank? Yeah, Bull has always been a great counter to Frank, but right now it's impossible. As a Frank, you will never ever be able to beat a Bull. He can stun you like crazy. He gains super so fast. Yeah, there's just no chance for that. Again, Shelly. Wow, oh my god, Shelly counters a tank? No way. But yes, in pro play, in the previous Buffy meta, there was hardly any great counters to Frank other than Shelly. Literally, that was the only real true counter to a Frank. So yeah, Shelly, of course, counters Frank. And then lastly, B. So the reason why B is really good into Frank is because the whole idea with Frank a lot of the time is that eventually he will open up the map with his super, with his hypercharge, while B can take advantage of that. So you're forcing the Frank to not really open up the map, which is pretty good. So yeah, B's always been a good counter to Frank. And then as a bonus one, just because I know a lot of people will be getting angry about the Rico meta, he's one of the most played brawlers in the game right now, and he's still very, very strong because they didn't nerf him appropriately. But Rico is not easy to counter, but there are some clear weaknesses, right? Being a Rico main, I would know. So one brawler I hate facing off against is Ruffs. This is because Ruffs can tank a little bit through his sandbags, but it's all about building up your supers. Like, Ruffs can open up the map a little bit, and that just annoys me so much as a Rico main. And it's very often in pro play, if Rico's drafted early on, Ruffs will be just that brawler they pick into Rico instantly, just for that reason of opening up the map. Next up, Colt. So Colt is a great counter to Rico as well. This is because of Silver Bullet, right? You just open up the map. Rico likes the map when it's got loads of walls, and so you can bounce off them. So yeah, Colt is a great counter. Then last one's Ali. So the reason why Ali's so good is because even though Rico's got defensive gadgets, it doesn't necessarily always deal with aggro brawlers appropriately, whilst yeah, you can't really deal with an Ali constantly jumping on you as a Rico. She's just too fast, too evasive, can't deal with it. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. The reason why I've not done a tier list is because I'm anticipating some nerfs pretty soon. So once those nerfs have happened, hopefully to Bibi, Sirius, and Bull, I'll be able to update you guys with a tier list. So that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys next time.